Your guess is as good as mine when it comes to this team. I'm officially just confused. I don't know which way they're going to go. Championship, flame out. I have no clue. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the games this weekend. That loss to Utah. Grant Williams on that last play. I'm blaming Malcolm Brogden for a lot of that. That's coming up. And Jayson Tatum, should he have even played? We're going to talk about it all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I'm here for you every day with a free, fresh podcast dropped directly to your device. Whichever app you use, you can find Locked On Celtics there. You can also find the show on YouTube. Hop in there, jump in the comment section, have some fun, yell at the Celtics for how they played against the Jazz, or yell at other people for losing faith in the Celtics. However you want to do it, it's all there on the Locked On YouTube page, Locked On Celtics YouTube page. I'm John Karalis, former pro. Now I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I wrote a book, Boston Celtics All-Time All-Stars. Get a signed copy at johnkaralis.com. I got a couple of games to get to here. First of all, today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. First-time users, you get a 100% instant deposit match of up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com. Promo code Locked On. Celtics. We'll work in some of the conversation about the win on Friday night over the Portland Trailblazers. We will spend a lot more time on the more recent game, the loss to the Utah Jazz, and we will do it all with our good friend, Tom _NBA.
Jock Jams. Let's go.
Dun, 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 dun. This is what happens when I've got my coffee here. You talk about getting caffeinated before the show. This is my second one. So
this is a weird vibe, right? Because it's like during the day, but it's after a West Coast road game, so it's like it's like you got that I just woke up energy, but also you also just went to bed. So
yes, I did not sleep a lot.
No,
I did
not either.
So we're sleep deprived. I'm teetering on the edge of angry.
I'm teetering on the edge of manic thanks to my coffee. So this is gonna be
that's great. So I haven't had my coffee with my special juice in it. So that's later. So we're actually recording. It's literally morning on Sunday.
I don't think we've ever done this before. Like you texted me and you were like, I'm podcasting like in the morning, and I was like, oh yes, let's do that.
Yeah. I promised everybody. I know people were on Twitter. Not everybody listens to all portions of the show. I tried to tell everybody there would be no post-game podcast, but I was going to get a show out early on Sunday, and this I think is going to serve as the Sunday and Monday show. This is basically the Monday podcast dropped super early. So let's get to it. Tom, I am so confused about this team now. I just don't know anymore. That was my piece on Boston Sports Journal where it's like, it's 50-50 at this point to me. Everybody's got a point. Everybody's right. Everybody's wrong. This is like Cheaty when he's going through it with the chili and the peeps. He's like, you're all right and you're all wrong and you get A's and you fail. And it's like, that's where I am. I'm having my chili peeps moment where I put the peeps in the chili pot and it's just all bad. What's going on, man?
I mean, to be the Eleanor, I guess, in this situation is to kind of.
I've always thought of you as an Eleanor.
I mean, like easily the coolest character in the show. So yeah,
for sure. Yes,
I've often thought of myself as Eleanor. Yeah. No, I mean, I think if you just got to kind of like break down each thing on its own, right? Because I thought that the Celtics played in some ways probably the most encouraging way that they could have played in with the least encouraging outcomes, right? Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all of that stuff is all very valid. Like, yeah, it's not great that the Celtics ran the same play sort of but badly like on the last possession and ended up with Grant and the ball in his hands and like Brogden was looking at him the whole time. It looked like the play was literally run to get the ball in Grant's hands, but Derek White hadn't played the entire fourth quarter, and like all this weird stuff in that final moment where it's just like, I mean, that was all pretty bad. But at the same time, I thought the ball movement has been pretty good the past two games. I thought the Celtics battled stayed pretty attached in that like, there was a chance that they would get blown out right in that game. Like you had the 19-point lead on the second night of a back-to-back. The Jazz come back and just erase that lead in like
A blink.
1.5 minutes, like just
Yeah,
gone
it
in the
wasn't.
first half,
It didn't take long.
which is pretty normal for a first half lead in the NBA, right? Like not a big deal. And then the Celtics stayed attached and didn't get blown out and actually had a chance to win. And that's good. But then they didn't win. And that's bad because now they're in third in the Eastern Conference. So yeah, man, I guess give me some of that peep chili, I guess, because
Yeah,
I'm right there with you. I don't know. Like a lot Grant Williams is like the macro the microcosm of this, right? Because he had a great game. He was really good for almost that entire game until the final 5 seconds when he drove directly at Walker Kessler for absolutely no reason. And just like I mean, if you're a Celtics fan, aren't you encouraged that Grant is hitting threes again and attacking closeouts effectively? Like even though the last play was so bad, like I don't know. I thought he had a really good game. I'm
yeah. No, he had a great game.
I don't know. Like so
This is so what you've described is the Homer Simpson with the monkey paw episode where he goes in. It's a Treehouse of Horror episode. People who watch The Simpsons know he goes in and the owner says, "Take this object, but beware, it carries a horrible curse." He goes, "Ooh, that's bad, but it comes with a free Frogurt. Oh, that's good. The Frogurt is also cursed. That's bad. You get a free choice of topping. That's good." It goes back and back, like so. And it's right. That's the appropriate take because look, the back-to-back Portland to Utah is historically just a tough one.
Yep.
In the NBA. You're at the most northwestern point on the map. It's a 2-hour flight, but you lose an hour because of the time zone. So it's sneaky. You're like, wait a minute, how is it 3 a.m. already when we're walking in? You're playing in altitude, which matters. I don't know if anybody else has played basketball in altitude. I have. It sucks. If you're not used to it, it sucks. And that is part of the whole thing too. So on that back-to-back, it kind of went exactly how most of us thought it would be. I certainly thought, come out strong, build a big lead. Okay, there goes the big lead. So I was not surprised that they lost it. Third quarter, it really started to get away from them. And to their credit, they bounced back. I thought, oh boy, they were outscored at one point like 44-20, 48-20, some 22. After going up 19, it was bad. And it just looked like, all right, this is Brooklyn kind of all over again. But they came back. They had no Marcus Smart, no Al Horford, still no Robert Williams. They got crushed on the boards, and yet they still had a chance to win. You're like, well, that's good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But then they get they go 2 for 1, which in that situation, I am okay with. I'm okay with getting. I'm okay. So my feeling is, you want to get yourself a good shot. This is the thing. You want to get yourself a good shot within that 6 seconds. You've called the timeout. You have an opportunity to run quick offense. Boom, boom. Get something good within 6 seconds. That's not hard to do in the NBA.
Sure.
You know, get the ball on the move. 1,001, 1,002. You're at the 3-point line. Run some actions. Boom, boom. Whatever. You have an opportunity to get a decent shot in a 2-for-1 situation because you want to trust your defense and then say, hey, we're going to get the stop. We're going to make the shot. We're going to get the stop. And then we'll play the free throw game. But in case we don't get the stop, we want another opportunity, right? You don't want to leave it to Lowry Markkinen, crazy fadeaway because he's feeling it, and now you have no time on the clock. You want to be able to call the timeout like they had with 5 seconds left and say, all right, let's try to get it back. What I didn't like was the Tatum pull-up, which Joe Mazzulla after the game was like, I'll take that 100 times out of 100 in every game. I'm like, really? Because he's going to miss 70 times.
Yep. The stats are
shot.
pretty clear on that one.
The stats show that Jayson Tatum with the pull-up off the dribble 3, which he's like, I'll take that any day. And he has to say that post-game. But the stats pretty clearly show that's a 30% shot, and it's probably the worst shot on the floor. Hey, remember when I was talking about Grant Williams taking step backs? At least that is a 36% shot.
Yeah.
For, like, there are plenty of shots. I will take Sam Hauser contested over Jayson Tatum pull-up like that this season. And especially in this game, he hadn't scored in the second half. There's no reason to expect that he was going to go and have this big moment other than he's Jayson Tatum. But you know what? I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that notion because he's not there. He hasn't earned, well, he's Jayson Tatum. He just hasn't earned that. He hasn't. And I know that the clutch numbers are pretty good. As far as like last second, they put up the last, buzzer beater type numbers. Those are fine numbers for him, but he's not Giannis. He's not Steph. He's not KD. He's not at that level where you've earned he's insert name. Of course you want him taking that shot. I don't think he's earned that. I'll give you a response in a second. First, I got to talk about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy done right. It's a fun game. Unlike watching the Celtics sometimes right now, this game is actually fun. And why is it fun? Well, because you are picking against projections. PrizePicks puts out their projection. You say more or less. And it could be on anything, in any sport, like literally any sport that you want out there. It's there. I see cricket listed. So if you're playing overseas or something like that, you want to, you're finding a way to play this, or you just happen to be in the U.S. and love cricket, yeah, you can play daily fantasy on PrizePicks with cricket. Why not? All of college basketball, all of pro basketball, WNBA when they come up, start up soon, all of that is there. You pick 2 to 6 players, you get them right, you can win up to 25 times your money on every entry. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less, super easy. So if you started by the time when I started talking, you'll be done by the time I finish talking right now. Safe and fast withdrawals, which is exactly what you want when you're putting money down on something. And it's currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. So check out PrizePicks right now. And if you are a first-time user, go to prizepicks.com, sign up, use the promo code LOCKEDON. You get an 100% instant deposit match up to $100. So if you drop $100 into your account, PrizePicks actually gives you $100. So you win right away. Whatever you deposit, 50, they'll give you 50. You have to enter the promo code Locked On to sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Head on over to the Locked On NBA feed. Locked On Game to Game gets you caught up on all the games in the league Monday through Friday with the local hosts, the local experts. And Locked On NBA, which I host on Wednesdays with Jake Madison of Locked On Pelicans, gets you the big stories, the big overarching themes from the league. So check that out wherever you get your podcast. All right, Tom Westerholm. I went on a little bit of a rant. There's a very high probability of rants today.
Oh, yeah. Both sides.
Yeah. So
the last 2 minute report is going to have a lot of rants on both sides.
Oh, my God. So the 2-for-1, I'm fine with the concept. I did not like the shot. I did not like Joe Mazzulla saying that he'd take that shot.
Yeah.
There's no creativity here. There's no misdirection. There's no nothing. There's no, I just settling for Jayson Tatum pull-ups and drawing up every play to get Jayson Tatum a shot. What are we doing here? Where's Jaylen Brown? Jaylen Brown just hit a 3-pointer to put you up 4. He's been hitting. Why not get a shot for him somewhere, somehow in this? Where's Tatum and Brown screening for each other? Where's some off-ball action? Borrow some plays from the Warriors, borrow some plays from somebody else where you can have Clay and Steph kind of doing things and get these guys doing something to get them both open, or get the guy open that you want and the other guy drawing a defense. Where is all that stuff?
I mean, to your point, right? Like right before that Jaylen three, Tatum created a three for Grant Williams, which he also knocked down. Like that was a really nice play by Tatum. I believe it was like just kind of waited for the defense to get where he wanted it to, whipped a pass, across the court, big skip pass. Williams, buries the three. Like
that
great
was
offense.
A great find. That was a great find.
Phenomenal find. And honestly, you look up and down like Tatum's, like he only took 12 shots. Like the Jazz were trying to take him out of the game, and he mostly, just kind of played within the flow. Like I thought those last couple possessions were tough, but like generally I didn't think he forced a lot until the last like minute or two. And I think, you talk about like what Tatum has earned, right? Like if he's earned like all this clutch stuff. I think the thing that he has earned is that down the stretch, defenses are going to double him or, like pay a lot of attention to him, certainly, right?
Right.
So there's that one drive he had where I think he kind of fumbled the ball a little bit, like not a lot was happening, but you could see, I think it was, it was that tough kind of turnaround, that kind of post up Dirk shot that he took. You could see the entire Jazz defense kind of looking at him, starting to kind of coalesce around him so that he couldn't get an easy shot. As they're all doing that, Malcolm Brogden is walking above the break to get it like to get a little more open. And it's like, well, that's one where the defense is about to double you. You need to be aware of that. You need to know they've been doubling you the whole game. There's going to be somebody open. And in this case, it was Brogdon, who had a pretty good game before that. So, I think what he's earned is the respect of the defense, and that's an opportunity for him to take advantage of that. So I think you got to make that pass too. Like I thought he did a good job of trusting his teammates at times, and that just has to keep going. And to his credit, he said like, okay, Grant, like, yeah, obviously, like, I don't have like some kind of ego. I'm not mad that Grant, took that shot at the end. Which good. Okay.
Yeah.
But like,
that's good.
That's, you like that. But then also like, I do think that, like those last two shots were not great looks. Like they felt forced. And after a game where it didn't feel like he forced a lot, that was like, really? You were so good before this.
Yeah. Look, when it comes to Tatum in this game, I think he clearly looked tired to me. He looked tired. There's one play, I don't remember exactly where it was, but it was in the second half, I think early in the second half. The Jazz got a breakaway. He ran down. He was a little bit behind the play, and so first of all, he never quite caught up. Second of all, he didn't try to contest. He didn't try for a block shot. He just kind of ran down and fouled the guy. And to me, that shows me that he's tired, because he was never going to get down there and make the play to contest at the rim or try some sort of chase down or try anything like that. So we talk about Tatum, the minutes, all that he's played, and he's like, I just love to play. I want to play. But if you're going to play like that, if you're too tired to play and you can't play and give it your all, then you're actually not helping. And he did help in because he is Jayson Tatum, and he is good, and he is able to find guys and use his gravity, and he did set up some guys for assists and all of that stuff. That's all true. But he clearly was tired. He clearly wasn't himself. He didn't score for 3 out of the 4 quarters. And if you're going to say, I just love to play, so I'm not taking games off, then go play. Don't take the game. He kind of sort of took plays off. He took half the game off with the way he took possessions off. Don't do that. Don't sit there and say, I'm going to play. I want to play. I love the game. And then go and say, oh, I'm too tired. I can't, I'm going to save myself in this possession. That's not playing. You're not playing. Either raise your hand and say, I need to sit and play fewer minutes, or say, okay, you know what? I am feeling a little bit sore. I've got some low back stiffness or something. Do that. But don't go out there and half-ass half the game and pick your spots because you're tired. That's not helping. That's not doing anything. You're not honoring the game by doing that. Have some self-awareness and be like, I actually shouldn't have played in this game because I'm just too beat. I'd rather have the Celtics be even more shorthanded and give, then you have to play Derek White in the fourth quarter. Then you have to do that. Then you have to, and at least somebody, there's a reason to play everybody. It just bugs me because they say a lot of things and then things like this happen and you're like, come on, man. Do you love the game? Of course he does. Of course he loves the game.
Yeah.
He loves to play. Yes. But understand that if you're not 100%, and no, I mean nobody's 100%, but if you're not feeling good enough to go out there and play and give it your all, if you're going to settle and you're not going to take any free throws and scoreless in the second half, like, come on, man. Like, just sit that out. No one's going to be mad at you.
No, I mean, literally, this team is built to give you that time off that you need. Like you said, like Derek White can come in, like he's your team's best plus minus guy. Like it is a huge net positive to have Derek White on the floor. Like it's fine if you take that time off. Malcolm Brogdon there was a stretch where I thought Malcolm Brogdon was so precisely what the Celtics need him to be this year because he was picking up the scoring slack on the second night of a back-to-back when the team was shorthanded and they didn't totally have it. But here comes Brogdon just getting a bunch of buckets and kind of keeping them alive in a game they didn't need but could really use. It was like the perfect Malcolm Brogdon moment, and he stepped into it because he's talented enough to do that. And I think that's all kind of part of that, right? Like you don't have to be a superhero anymore. Like
that's right.
I understand that last year you kind of did if you were going to win a championship and you didn't win a championship. So this year, Brad Stevens stocked up. Like this team is much better now. There's so many guys who can all play. And it's fine if you just kind of take some time off and let them hoop instead. So, I mean, I think, and you can look at Tatum too, when he plays within the offense, even if he's not 100% sharp, if he's feeling good, he'll get to the line 16 times like he did against the Blazers. And even when he's shooting 2 for 11 from 3, if he's rested, if he's playing within the flow, he's still excellent. He's still putting up 30 points a game. So, long way of saying I agree.
Yeah, that second quarter was great. The second quarter, the Celtics were playing,
right.
The ball was moving. Tatum was catching it on the move. I'm watching that quarter. I'm like, yes, thank you. Yes. I'll talk about that in just a second. First, we got to do the Nissan Electric Player of the Weekend. Let's do a Player of the Weekend. It's brought to you by the all-new electric 2023 Nissan Ariya. I did Jaylen Brown as the Player of the Week. We did this on Friday. The answer is still Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is still the Electric Player of the Week. But you know what? I'm putting a limit. You can't win 3 weeks in a row.
Fair.
Who are we gonna pick for the Electric Player of the Weekend? We're gonna go Grant Williams.
I pitched Luke Cornett at you for his
for
his 9 for 13 performance over 2 games. But listen,
let's take this opportunity to give it to Grant Williams and say, hey, that was an electric game against the Jazz, minus the final play, which you know what? Okay.
Do you want to talk about that? I have some thoughts on that as well. It wasn't great, but I don't think it was entirely his fault.
No, it wasn't. Let's save that for a second. Let's talk him up a little bit because I thought
he was really good.
This was really an electric performance for him, and how stunningly powerful the 3-pointers can be, and he hit 7 of them. If he had hit that 8th, this game would have gone the other way, and the tone of this game wouldn't be. It was the shot that he missed that turned into, what was it, the Walker Kessler flagrant foul, Jaylen Brown.
Yep.
And if that wasn't a flagrant foul, then Kessler probably would have missed both free throws because he just misses free throws.
Yep.
And the Celtics maybe would have gotten the rebound.
Yeah.
They gave up 17 offensive rebounds. So there's no guarantee.
Well, yeah, because Walker Kessler would have been at the free throw line, not
rebounding. Yeah,
not
yeah.
rebounding. Yeah.
So that was I think the turning point for me. If Grant had just, I mean, it sucks to ask him like, hey man, I wish you had hit that 8th 3-pointer in this game. The other
you be 8 for 12 instead of 7 for 12. Come on.
Right. I mean, come on. But the one thing that I really liked about Grant Williams there was he didn't celebrate after any of those 3-pointers, which throughout the course of the season he had taken to celebrating all of them. He did that. He kind of stole Jayson Tatum's like kiss 3. Yeah, he kind of stole that and took it for himself, and he got kind of. That tells me a lot. That tells me a lot right there, because I think he's in his own head. And I think one of the messages from the team had to be stop thinking you're like, stop getting caught up in the, I got to celebrate, I got to do this, I got to just hit the damn 3-pointer, get back on defense. We'll celebrate in the locker room afterwards. So I thought it was really a great, with one exception. Will Hardy, after he came out, they had their little conversation, and you saw it on the broadcast. Grant was laughing. He hit that 7th 3-pointer. He said something to the bench, and then he missed the next one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But regardless, I'm giving Grant Williams the electric player of the game. The 2023 Nissan Ariya packs pin you to your seat power and premium intelligence all in one electric vehicle. It's the all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya, the electric vehicle for people who love to drive. Shop now at NissanUSA.com. Today's show also brought to you by Built Bar. Built Bar is having their big Built Bar Madness, March Madness event going on. I'm going salted caramel. If you want to vote at BuiltMarchMadness.com, you can pick yours and see how they go. When you vote for your favorite bar or puff, you will be entered into a drawing where 50 lucky Locked On Celtics listeners or Locked On listeners will get a free box of Built. That's pretty cool. Not only that, one of you will win a 12-month subscription to Built to have Built's best bars or puffs delivered monthly straight to your door. Boy, they really challenged us with that alliterative stuff. Built's best bars. You got to try Built. Built's the best protein bar ever. Seriously, you're amazing. They're amazing. They're all low sugar, high carbs, and really covered in 100% chocolate, real chocolate. So go on over to BuiltMarchMadness.com right now. Vote for your favorite bar or puff. Pick up a box while you're there. You can vote every day in March, so hop in. Support your pick. All right, Tom, let's talk about that final play, because it was supposed to be a dribble handoff to Jayson Tatum. Of course, to Jayson Tatum, not to Jaylen Brown, who, as I said earlier, deserves it. Earlier this season, everything, the first 2 or 3 late game situations, it was Tatum as the decoy, Jaylen as the final shot taker. He banked one in, that big crazy 3-pointer from like the hash mark. Forget what game that was. He missed a couple of them. I wonder if that was just like the audition. And Joe's like, yeah, okay, you had your chance. You haven't really done anything with it. Now we're going to JT with this one play with Tatum way in the back and running up. I didn't see Tatum running up in this play. I didn't see Malcolm Brogdon, who was inbounding, do much either after he inbounded the ball.
He was still out of bounds when the shot got blocked, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, okay, the play was drawn up to Grant to get for Grant to get the ball. They switch. He has Lowry Markkanen topside. And so he's like, okay. In that moment, I can see him saying, well, I'm certainly not going that way to do the dribble handoff. So now I've got to do something else. Now, I'm not normally putting the ball in Grant's hands there. But he's the one who got it, and he decided to make a play. Is that the play I would have preferred? No. I'm not sure how much I actually blame Grant for that.
I agree.
You know, like I remember one time playing in college. I threw a bounce pass from the top of the key to our point guard who was driving baseline, and he got blocked. The coach yelled at me. I was like, I didn't get blocked. He's like, yeah, but you put that guy in that situation. You put him in the situation where he was going to get blocked.
Yep.
You got to know who you're giving the ball to and where. And that's it's a strong lesson, because you're like, yes, he's open, and if a person's going to be open in a certain spot, or if he's going to be put in that position to make a play, you have to understand what the possibilities are. And so I'm certainly not absolving Grant of the blame, but you put him in a position there, and he's going to kind of, with 5 seconds left, if he doesn't see the option right away, then I kind of not surprised at the way the things played out.
Yeah. No, I agreed. And then, like, when you look at how everything kind of broke down around that, right? Like, I mean, Jaylen slipped, so he wasn't really an option.
Yep.
Like Markkanen, the guy, who kind of switched up on Grant, when Grant drove toward Kessler, Markkanen was fading toward the corner to kind of cut off that passing lane to Sam Hauser. And like you said, Tatum still in the backcourt, like, never really made much of a move. Took like a couple steps. And then Brogdon still standing out of bounds. It was interesting watching Grant talk post game, because he's kind of like, he's like, there wasn't really an avenue, for me to improve that. And then you could see him kind of thinking to himself and then being like, I could have shot a floater, or I could have tried to get it to Sam. And it's like, you can see him like trying to process the play even still, right? Like, cause that was a lot to process. That's not like, and I mean, he's an NBA player who studies the game a lot. Like, obviously you're expected to have some understanding of that, but I mean, it's just that play just broke down very quickly and like very thoroughly. I didn't think that there was much there for anybody, honestly. So yeah, I mean, like, I can't, you hate to really harp on Grant after that one, because like, that 5 seconds, it was ugly. But the 47 minutes and 55 seconds before that were all good, and I don't know how much blame Grant even deserves for this one. Yeah.
I'm going to put the play up on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to talk it through for the people. So they are switching, very obviously switching. So when Grant gets the ball, he comes up. What's not on this version is Grant starts low on the baseline, and he looks like he's going to go set a screen for Jaylen Brown. So it seems like it's a decoy screen, I'm going to go screen for Tatum. And then he cuts back, and he's going to get the ball. But so he
of course, notably, Lauri Markkanen is not guarding the inbounder at all. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So they have somebody at the rim, which is so now that tells you, hey, now you should see that. When I'm going to rewind, when Grant is running up the floor, he is looking at the ball. He's like, okay, you should process there. No. There's nobody guarding Malcolm Brogden. So, okay, I catch the ball here. I've got to make a play. How about you pivot, turn around, and now you got to put it on Brogden. Why are you standing out of bounds? Step in to the 3-point line. Like, Tatum has barely moved. Jaylen at this point, if you're watching on the YouTube, has slipped and looks like a down lineman with one hand on the ground. Malcolm Brogden is standing out of bounds, and the only other guy that's doing anything to help, and I'm absolving Jaylen because he slips, is Sam Hauser. Sam Hauser is doing his job, kind of like ready in the corner to catch that and shoot. But Brogden hasn't stepped in. That should be Grant, catch, stop. You've got 5 seconds left. Pivot.
He did go too fast, for sure.
He did go too fast. Catch the ball here. Okay, so I know I've got a guy on my right hip. I know I've got this guy here, Kelly Olynyk. Take one dribble the other way out to the elbow, turn, give it to Brogden, who should be stepping in. And if Brogden catches the ball out of bounds, then everybody would have to yell at Brogden for being still out of bounds at that point. Like, what are you doing? The whole play, he has never stepped in bounds at all.
Yeah, and I mean, Two things about that. One, Grant never looks back at Brogdon, to be clear. So it's not
No, he didn't. He should. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right. Also Brogdon should be in bounds. Like those two, not a great interaction there. I also like if you're gonna have Grant in there, the thing that he's done really well all game. I mean, he's attacked a couple of closeouts, but the thing that he has done really well all game is space the floor. I mean, like, why not have Derek White on the floor here to make quick decisions, to process the game at the level that Derek White processes the game at? Like you're putting Grant in a tough position here by asking him to make a really difficult read at a crucial time in the game. And I don't think Grant made the right read by any stretch of the imagination, but I just think other players might have been better suited. Because I mean, Grant talked after the game. He's like, "Yeah, I tried to get Kessler to commit a foul because I felt like I should at least get a shot up." And it's like, what that shows me is that you attacked the best shot blocker on the floor, and you did it like you felt like you had to get a shot up when there were like still 5 seconds. Like by the time you're slowing it down here, he had at least 3 seconds, like 3.5 maybe, when he was going up for the shot. That's enough time to pass and shoot.
That's definitely enough time to pass, make a move, and shoot.
Yeah,
so,
that's a lot of time. But but why wasn't that Derek White making those decisions?
No, right. Also, if Malcolm Brogdon had stepped in, I'm just going to say, and I'm not sure this would have made any difference, but however, you're just looking at possibilities. Inbound to Grant, everything stays the same, except at this point here, Grant power dribble, right? One, two. Malcolm
Huge
Brogdon
jump stop directly into where Walker Kessler can block you.
Right. So now he's kind of stuck. And as Walker Kessler, you can just kind of wait. But if Brogdon should be out by the Vivint Arena logo at that point, he should be somewhere in that spot. Okay? Because your job as a shooter now is to give this guy an outlet. So Grant is on the right block. Walker Kessler is on his, right in front of him. Kelly Olynyk is to his right, off his right shoulder, and he knows that Lauri Markkanen is behind him. So Malcolm Brogdon should, at the very least, be at the right slot, ready to give Grant an option. So Grant doesn't take the option. All right, boom, he gets blocked. The ball goes. Look at where the ball just drops.
Yeah.
Malcolm Brogdon, if he was in the right spot, could have gotten to that ball probably with 1.3 seconds left and at least a chance to take one dribble and go up with a shot.
Even if you just hoist it, even that, get something going, throw the ball at the hoop in some way.
That's desperation. That's desperation. However, Malcolm Brogdon should have been in that spot. You put yourself in that spot to help. First of all, he didn't help Grant Williams.
Yep.
So Tatum didn't help Grant Williams. He wasn't in the best position. Jaylen couldn't help Grant Williams because he had slipped. Malcolm Brogdon didn't help Grant Williams because he just stood out of bounds, which is lazy. That is a lazy play. And then on top of it, and this is almost like I always say the basketball gods, I don't believe that some divine thing pushed the ball in that direction, but holy crap, man. That's almost divine. If he's like, hey, you know what? We're going to highlight this. We're just going to have the ball kind of like move towards the spot where Brogdon should have been. And just to highlight the fact that, hey, Malcolm should be getting a ton of heat for that play. In fact, he should be getting more heat for that play than Grant. But Joe Mazzulla should be getting more heat because I would have had Brogdon setting the pick and Derek White inbounding. And that would that I think that would have been a better situation.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think there was a play shortly before that where I think it was the Markkanen 3 that cut the lead. That was Grant called it a miscommunication after the game. If you go back and watch that one, it was I've watched it about 100 times. I think Brogdon was at fault for that one too. Like it was a bad switch that Grant read correctly and Brogdon was supposed to go out on Markkanen.
Yeah.
It was not, I thought, like I said, I thought Brogdon kind of keeping the Celtics in it was exactly what they needed. I did think that there were 2 plays down the stretch from Brogdon where it was just like, like you said, the ball's bouncing right where you should be. And I think the switch was similar that way.
Well, that's tough. It's just, I think Brogdon Brogden, for all of his great things that he's done, every once in a while he just kind of like when he doesn't have a good game, he has a bad game. Like he doesn't have a mediocre game. And then when he kind of takes a play off, he's hot or cold, I guess is the way I could put it. Mostly hot, but when it's cold, it's cold. You know, it's not like he sort of messes up. He just kind of stopped. So, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot there at play. What you didn't have in that final play is options.
Right.
I think if you're going to get on Joe Mazzulla, is you didn't have options. And okay, you want to go with that lineup? Fine. Grant was out there. He's been hot. He earned that spot out there. Fine. But what you didn't have was something that gave you okay, they blew this up. Where do I go next? And you're just relying on Jaylen to get free.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, when he slips, like now you got nothing. So, Joe Mazzulla definitely needs to add some creativity to his bag. He needs to get into his bag. He's been pretty good, I think, out of timeouts.
Yeah.
And I think he runs a pretty good offense, but I don't know. I don't know why they just keep going to this one play or variations of this one play down the stretch. Quickly, I will say the Portland game was a good win. I thought that was a good win. They fought that wasn't a typical kind of like that was a team that has a winning record at home, playing well. Damian Lillard punching them with a huge punch in the fourth quarter, and them finding a way to win. I thought that was a good win. Unfortunately, the Celtics are now 3-2 on this trip, and now facing the Sacramento Kings, who we have to take seriously. It's not in our nature to say we have to take the Sacramento Kings seriously, but the Celtics have fallen to percentage points behind the Sixers, and they missed an opportunity here. Okay, the Houston loss sucked, but the Pacers did the Celtics a favor beating Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And if the Celtics had pulled this out, they would have been a game behind the Bucks?
Yeah. Game and a half.
A game and a half?
I think game and a half, but yeah.
No, they were 1.5. They lost. They went down to 2.
Right.
They would have gone up to 1.
Right. Yep.
Which would have been fine if you just stayed there until March 30th and then you played them. So nothing's done. Nothing's wrapped up yet. But, I thought after a good win, a solid win, where I thought the Celtics fought and played well against Portland, this is granted shorthanded and all that stuff. It's just disappointing how it ends. The inability to grab rebounds. It feels like, is it just as simple, Tom, as, well, when Robert Williams comes back, that fixes a lot. And you just get, it just all hinges on Robert Williams now.
Well, I mean, and look, Al Horford was out too, right? Like, so that,
sure, yeah.
The rebounding thing, I mean, it wasn't great, but at the same time, it's like you didn't have either of your, starting and rotation bigs. So that matters, certainly. I mean, I think when you look at this road trip, right, if they can beat the Kings and go 4-2 on this road trip, and one of the losses was a trap game that they definitely should have won, and one of the losses was a half decent performance against a, pretty good Jazz team that kind of felt like it got ruined in the last minute. I mean, 4-2 when those are your two losses, and one of the losses is the second night of a back-to-back where you're super shorthanded and you don't have your starting point guard and you don't have either of your starting bigs. I mean, that's a half decent road trip. Like, it's not bad if they can beat the Kings.
Right.
And even so, this is what happens when the other teams in your conference get hot, right? Milwaukee got super hot. They, and so they've got this lead. The Sixers are super hot right now. I think they've won 8 in a row, something like that. Like they've been playing great. So yeah, like it's a your lead gets trimmed. So it's one of those where it's like the road trip itself has a chance to end up pretty good, and the Celtics could still lose some ground. And I
Yeah.
don't know. It's kind of like we were talking about at the beginning. There's like, hey, you're playing pretty well, but you're still losing ground. But
Yeah.
you're making progress, but you're in third now. Like it's
Yeah.
you just drive yourself in circles.
I mean, like who saw the Sixers winning 9 out of 10?
Right.
Right. And a hard part of their schedule.
Right.
And credit to them. They've done
Absolutely.
what they had to do. I wrote them off. I literally wrote the Sixers are not getting the second seed now because they have a hard schedule coming up. The Celtics are cruising. They're winning 70% of their games. And the Sixers are going to basically have to be perfect. And they've basically been perfect. And the Celtics have been 500. So the Celtics, did it to themselves. They controlled their own destiny. They did it to themselves. And what you can't do is put yourself in a position where bad luck can hurt you. And this is the problem. You've got to take care of the things. They talk about controlling the controllables all the time. They talk about that all the time. And when you don't do that, you put yourself in a position to be down a few guys and fail to close. You put yourself in a position to have a stinker against a bad team and have them actually pull. You put yourself in a position where another team can make a run and you'd be like, an unexpected run. And you all of a sudden, a couple of bad days put you in third place. You had games you could have controlled. You could have controlled that Brooklyn game. You could have controlled the New York game. You didn't. And now you find yourself in this spot. So instead of the Celtics, if they had just done what they're supposed to do against Brooklyn and New York, where they had those big late leads, and those are very clearly bad losses, they'd be 51-21 right now. So they would be I think maybe percentage points behind the Bucks, but essentially one more win and one more loss than the Bucks. They'd be right there. And so no one would really be saying much right now. But the unfortunate part is they look like they did at the beginning of last year. This is such a poorly timed kind of funk. And I come out of this with still the same level of confusion about this team. I don't know if they're going to win a championship, and I don't know if they're going to flame out in the first round or second round. And I can't make a solid argument against each.
Yeah, because if you look at like you said, they look like they did last year, at which point they were not contenders at the start of last season.
No.
Like they had to change some things around. And at the same time, you could say, look at all their playoff experience. They know how to win in the playoffs, and the playoffs are all about matchups anyway. And we know how they match up with the Sixers, and we know how they can, how they can match up against the Bucks. And, we know how the Western Conference, might or might not be like it, like you said, you could talk yourself either way. It's especially when you've had a lot of coffee and it's a morning podcast. You can really wrap yourself around it.
I need more coffee. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. Which means it's the end of the podcast.
Yeah, we got to stop.
The podcast only lasted as long as the coffee did. And it's at this point, 12:30, just past noon. I got to get more. I can't. They still don't make it in an IV. And so can't mainline my caffeine. So I got to go buy some more.
Yeah.
With that, Tom, thanks for hopping on, buddy.
Appreciate you, man.
All right. This is the Monday podcast. So I'm dropping it early. It's dropping Sunday afternoon. We went a little long. So if you want to consider it the Sunday and Monday podcast, listen to half of it, then listen to the other half on your ride to work on Monday or whatever. Gave you a little something extra. So the next podcast will drop at its normal time for Tuesday. That means Monday evening, I will have a new podcast for you that will release late Monday into Tuesday morning. So that's the schedule. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've enjoyed it more than the Celtics the last couple of weeks. If you're not a subscriber at this point, I hope you're finding the show fun enough where you can go subscribe. Hop onto the YouTube page, get into that comment section, join a lot of Celtics fans who are in there talking about the game, the team, the podcast. And if you are a subscriber, I'd love it if you shared the podcast, tell your friends, tell everybody that they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.